All right, here we go. So I was reflecting on communication earlier, specifically being specific in your communication and how critical that is. I'm very fascinated by communication. I went to school for communication, and I also have read a bunch of books about communication. Communication opens up doors, it builds relationships, and as they say, communication is the key. Um, I mean, it's weird too, like communication. I've always found it weird that we're the only creature that has the ability to like have complex communication skills. Um, and when you really get down to it, like communication, if you're good at it, like if you're a good speaker and a good listener, then you're going to reduce suffering in the world because I mean, I'm sure even just listening to what I'm saying, you're coming up with five things in your head of situations that involved conflict or other things that caused you suffering based on poor communication skills. So let's talk about it a little bit. So it's critical to be specific in your communication. If you are generalizing, then it's kind of dehumanizing in interaction. You're basically not going to be able to connect with the other person because you don't know what they're talking about. You have no context. Um, and we can there's in any real category or area, but your wants, needs, desires, goals, um, let's be specific with those things because then it's more likely that you're going to actually get those things. So you know when for instance I accidentally exited out of the timer on the microwave because I didn't know my roommate was using the microwave for a timer instead of like his phone or whatever. And I like felt really bad and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry." And he was just like, "It's okay." But it was like very blunt and very like one word answer. We all know people who, they just give like one word answers. And so I have no idea. I'm reflecting on it right now. I still have no idea if it actually was fine or if he was pissed off for some reason, like because of that. I don't really know. So I'm still wondering that because there was no specificity in it. Like I put out an emotional bid and I was met with a one word answer. It's we all know the person you say, "How are you doing? Are you okay?" And someone says, "I'm fine." And this, as the listener, this leaves us to guess. We don't know. And if you're talking to someone and you're assuming that they know what you want or desire or need, then you're setting them up for failure. How is someone supposed to read your fucking mind? I mean, really. Sorry for the F bomb. Um, but yeah, emotional bids, man. I mean, it's just lazy if you can't give someone a little bit of emotion to contextualize an interaction. So be specific. Use your adjectives, use your adverbs, use details. If I don't know what's an example here. Let's say husband comes home and the wife says you're inconsiderate, and he comes home late and he's like, okay, what if she says, well, when you come home 30 minutes after you said you were, and you already ate dinner and you didn't tell me while I made dinner for you. That's really specific to what happened to that situation so that the husband knows next time to communicate that he's getting dinner so the wife doesn't have to cook dinner if he's going to be home late. So do you see how the specificity is like kind of where the loop got lost? I mean, obviously in this situation, he had to communicate that he was going to be late in the first place, but nonetheless, you get the point. If you're generalizing, people aren't going to be able to tell what like they the specificity is going to lead to more meaning and context. Context is everything in communication. So, um, we thrive on context. You've probably heard the saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So this is what like gives people an idea of where they are in relationship to you. And if you can get more specific with your communication, then your relationships are going to absolutely thrive. Because think about it, like, um, specificity is kind of like a form of respect. It's a form of respect for the other person's time. It's a form of respect for their boundaries. It's a form of respect for their mental energy. And I don't know. I guess maybe that's just me, but I have like a general level of respect for another human being where I want them to know where they lie with me so that when I have a conversation with them, that conversation isn't like a whole chaotic, um, like blurb of many conversations with like past conflicts coming in and resurfacing, right? Like, I don't want them to be wondering about 10 other things about our relationship while we're talking. So I want them to know whether they're an acquaintance, whether they're a best friend, whether they're a romantic relationship. And when I'm making a request to somebody, I want them to fulfill specifically what I want. If I have a goal or need or want or desire, if the more specific I get about that, like I said earlier, the more likely it is that I'm going to get that. It's the likelihood goes up completely. So, and something else I was reflecting on is like it's like this weird inverse relationship to specifically one of the most prevalent human fears, the fear of the unknown. So the more specific you get with your communications, the less fear of the unknown there is in your conversations, whether that be personal relationships, friendships, work relationships, negotiations, conflicts, you name it. If you're being specific, then you're gonna like you're just gonna get better results. And it's just like I said earlier, it's lazy to not give context. And I don't know, I mean, maybe it's just me, but there's so many people who like they give one word answers, and it's like even if you don't like somebody, you should still give them the respect of telling them that you don't like them, or explaining to them what it is about them that you don't have a good relationship with them about. If you're blatantly just like avoiding any emotional cues with a person, it's just downright disrespectful. Like, how am I supposed to know what you're fucking thinking, man? So yeah, I mean, like I said, flips the whole relationship between fear when you can get specific with your conversation, and it affects timing, it affects schedules. We all know the person that says, "I'm on my way," when they haven't even left their house. Um, yeah, another thing is like, I think I alluded to this, but if you're making someone guess as to what it is you want, then it's setting that person up for failure. I feel like there was something else I was going to add. I don't remember what it was. Um, but yeah, man, be specific with your communication. No one wants to guess where they stand with you, and you're going to get, I guess, just think of, like when I say think about the results of your communication, I'm sure you can come up with an example in your own head. Um, it's gonna, I like the word illuminate. If you're being specific with your conversations and your communication, you're going to illuminate what it is that person's role is to you. So I hope this helps. Leave a like, leave a comment. I love to hear your feedback. Peace.